All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling something we all chase confidence. But we're going to look at it from a completely different angle, one that might just flip how you think about it entirely.
I mean, it's everywhere, right? This constant noise telling us we need more confidence, that it's the key to, well, pretty much everything in life. You see it in all the books, all the videos on our feeds, these little tutorials on how to look confident. Heck, they've even packaged it up into courses we can buy. It's like confidence is some kind of software update we forgot to install. But what if we've been asking the wrong questions this whole time? No, really. Stop for a second. Why do we even need it? Why are we chasing this one thing so hard? Let's dig into that. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. When you start to pay attention, you notice a pattern. Confidence isn't some constant state you're in, it's situational. It tends to show up in moments where fear has already kind of set up camp. It's not a starting point, it's a response.
Think about it. You don't worry about being confident when you're just joking around with your close friends or being silly at home. The need for it is completely absent. But then, in situations where you feel like you might be judged, job interviews, big presentations, maybe even a first date, that's when the demand for confidence suddenly appears out of nowhere.
And this brings us to this really key idea performative confidence. This isn't genuine self assurance we're talking about. It's a carefully managed show, a controlled display of posture and voice and expression, all designed to mask the very fear that's causing it. The goal isn't to understand the fear, it's just to hide it.
And here is the simple, undeniable truth that proves it. You don't put on a show for people you trust completely, for the people you feel truly safe with. In those moments, there's no script, there's no image to protect. You can just be. So this brings us to a really crucial turning point. If confidence is the performance, then what about fear? Let's take a minute to reevaluate what we've been told is the problem all along. And wow, when you put them side by side, the contrast is just stark. Look at this. Fear is honest. It doesn't pretend, it just reacts. But this performative confidence, it's the total opposite. It's controlled, it's all about hiding things, and it absolutely needs a script. So, the crucial point is this. Maybe fear itself was never the enemy. The real problem is how we've all been taught to treat it, as something to be defeated and silenced and hidden at all costs, instead of just listening to it as a simple human signal. And treating fear like an enemy leads us directly into a trap. This is a vicious cycle where the very act of hiding our fear paradoxically ends up making it so much more powerful. This slide shows exactly how that trap works. It all starts when a natural fear of judgment appears. So to cope, we put on our confidence mask to hide it. But that performance needs an audience, right? So we start seeking validation. The problem is, once we get that approval, a new fear emerges, the fear of losing it. And so the performance has to escalate, getting bigger and bigger just to keep up. It's this crazy loop where the very thing we did to hide fear ends up creating more of it. And man, living inside that cycle, it is utterly draining. Constantly trying to imitate an idea of what a confident person should look like isn't empowering at all. It's a recipe for burnout. Okay, so what's the alternative? This brings us to our final section, a new perspective. What actually happens when we decide to just stop performing and stop hiding? What if the goal we've all been chasing is actually the wrong one? Maybe the most important step is to just stop asking this question altogether. And instead, we could ask something much, much deeper. Why does fear have to be fixed or covered up? Why isn't it allowed to just exist as a quiet part of being human? Shifting the question really does change everything. Because here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop fighting fear and instead just try to understand it, to listen to what it's trying to tell you, it actually begins to lose its power over you. Not because you destroyed it, but because you just stopped wrestling with it. And when that resistance fades away, the need for the performance, it just dissolves. If there's nothing to fight, there's nothing to hide. And if there's nothing to hide, well, there's no show you have to put on.
And perhaps that's the real answer. Maybe true confidence isn't something you build or chase or perform at all. Maybe, just maybe, it's what's left over when you finally give yourself permission to stop hiding. It's something to think about, isn't it?